Hi, if you're new to the channel, this is actually a remake of my very first video on YouTube, which I do kinda recommend even though it's slightly lower quality and has some errors compared to the remake. Also, this is a series with a chapter 2 that is actually released last year. I'm going to do a playlist for you guys to see all of the chapters released so far. Also, I would like to credit WGY Games and his Deltarune Yellow series for giving me that idea because the format of this series is similar to Dry. Okay, without wasting any more time, it's time we bring a new light to a crossroad you did not know or even expect someone to make. Start our story with Kirby coming back home after another failed night of fighting missing residents of Popstar, as disappearance has been happening throughout Popstar. Lots of people created theories on how they go missing, but there was no evidence backing up. It's like they were just vanished all of a sudden. It really confuses people, and Kirby was just tired of it and is relieved to sleep once more. But then he noticed a mail at the front door, so he picks it up and breaks it with him. Inside his letter was two things: a letter which unfortunately Kirby cannot read, but it says, "You don't know who we are, but we don't know who are you, but we need your help. You have two missions: find the flower, find the angel." The other was a VHS tape that Kirby knows as Fu will teach him about VHS tapes, and most importantly, a VHS player, which he has. Don't ask how he has one. What he saw was a man saying what Kirby is going to see is the most incredible doll ever made. Her name was Poppy, and she has the uniqueness of being the first doll to actually have a conversation with a child. Kirby was confused about that, and the man said just watch. And then she was a commercial to said doll, which made Kirby interested in some way, and he was more interested in the factory tour instead. Then, before the commercial came and suddenly it flashes into 5 images of creature, a rushing lanking beast, a spider-like creature grabbing someone, a 4-legged creature that spits some sort of gas, and 2 very unidentifiable creatures. One looked like a human and the other one a bird. And then culminating into a room with a red flower on the wall. Kirby noticed that's the flower on the paper, but before Kirby can process things subtly, the TV flashes with red and a loud sound, and almost like it was made up with screams. Kirby, scared, hiding in his bed, but then he heard something. The TV said, "Find a flower, find the angel," back to back multiple times, and each time it's getting louder and clearer. And with it, a silhouette of the poppy doll appears as Kirby lifts up his bank. Then the screen gets brighter and brighter, and then it stops. And we see that Kirby is gone. With Kirby entering the mysterious factory thinking that he got a factory tour, I'm going to explain what this hypothetical game is. Kirby's Playtime will be a beat-em-up puzzle platformer where you have to traverse areas with cool movement mechanics, fight enemies with multiple options, and solve a wide variety of puzzles. Uses either the grab pack mechanic, copy abilities, etc. Also, it fits pretty well since early Kirby games were kinda like puzzles, or had puzzles you need to do for 100% completion, such as the Dark Matter trilogy. Okay, with that out of the way, can I tell you that the mysterious tape traumatized Kirby? As in, if you pick up the tape from everybody's favorite greedy businessman tape, he will not put it, because the last tape he put it in his VHS player. Anyway, go left and you'll find. And with it, Kirby goes to the gift shop, which will have lots of toys from other chapters. There are now Bundle Bunnies, PJ Puckabillers, the Smiling Critters, Piano Sources, and new unfamiliar toys. And yes, there are going to be OCs like what you saw with Angelica, which you are fine if you don't like them. Now I think they're going to be fun, and this is an AU. Also, to clarify, I'm changing things from the Poppy playtime lore, not because I hate it. In fact, I really do love it. Wow, shocker. It's just that I wanted to do my own take of it, as well as fitting with the few new ideas I put in this AU. Okay, now it's time for Kirby to put the code and. Fine. It's time that we talk about our first copy ability, Hand Kirby. Well, before we actually talk about it, there is something unique about copy abilities in this game. They're split between two types, brand new copy abilities based on the bigger body, and returning copy abilities that are based on the hands you fit them. This Hand Kirby almost fit the second type, but it's its own thing. It does have a move that is similar to Suplex's one move. Anyway, I just want to talk spotted, such as Rocket Punch, which have Kirby launches hands arm style. And thus can do a 2 combo attack down. Launch one hand and then the other if press B again. It can be also be used in mid-air. Then we have Charge Grab. It's simple. Hold B, then use to grab an enemy star and have the ability to throw it, just like Suplex. Stop Sign, which is basically a gigantic shield, just like Kirby uses hands to block attacks. And lastly, we have Rock, Paper, Scissors. Hold B, target to do an analog style hold B over while holding. It changes what moves you can use. Rock summons falling rocks, Paper summons tree paint, which spins around you and deal contact damage, and Scissors summons a scissor that constantly attacks a single enemy for 30 seconds. And thus, Kirby and Angelica missions are established. With Kirby finding the angel, it's time to find the flower and most importantly, meeting Poppy. And now, with Kirby realizing that not all VHS tapes are haunted, you can finally put a security tape. Also, an Easter egg I would like to put it is that after the tape finished, Angelica will have a dialogue about her thoughts on these VHS tapes. Another Easter egg I would like to add is that if you wait in front of a poster, Angelica will have a dialogue based on the poster you stand in. Editing recluse there, I forgot to talk about the grab pack mechanic. So if you press X, you'll switch into grab pack mode, then use each bumper to use each hand. Yeah, that's it. And with that out of the way, it's time to meet the one and only. Also, here are a few Easter eggs. The first one is that while playing the Huggy song, Angelica will hum it, but if you played it 7 times, then Kirby will hum it too. Also, another Easter egg about Huggy is that if you slap his face or give him a high five, then you get it's an Angelica dialogue. Do it a few more. If you high five Huggy a few times. If you high five Huggy after slapping him. And doing the opposite. After this, Kirby will use the grab bag and immediately not working. With the Easter eggs out of the way, you can go to the power section where it is bigger as vertical air. Yes, but it's still horizontal and wait, did you just hear? Here we have the first mini boss and technically the first boss, but you know who takes the spot. Gigantonite or Beast Knight as boss called will have moves taken from its original counterpart, though it does develop new moves. At first, it can throw its sword like flame knight, and the second it will charge up and shoots a sword attack. If you are able to take out this beast, then you'll get the familiar Sword Kirby, our first copy ability that is actually a returning copy ability, unlike Hand, with a reskin based on the red hand or Omni Hand, I guess. Not much really changed about our ability, it's all-rounder classic, but I did add one new ability, that being a counter move where press B while block if enemy hit, you can counter attack. And yeah, that's all. Okay, now it's time we do the power section. There are a couple of enemies that include the toyified versions of Kirby and enemies from the Hand Kirby introductions. Brontos, Scarfies, Kabus, and more are they're toyified and a little more creepy. There are also platforming sections and of course puzzles. We have sword puzzles, switches, and ropes, which may or may not come back. But we also have hands puzzles, pylons, where use rocket pods to drag Kirby into it. Even as a swinging variation, where with enough momentum, you can throw so far. No. Next, we have Angelica's puzzles. The balls are in which you need to shoot metal plate, each that Kirby. You then use the grab and to open the fence gate to go push in. And then comes the final puzzle, which is the vent puzzle from the original PP, which I moved right here for a reason. Though it is a little harder, as in there are holes there, which is meant to teach you that you can hover with the grab bag, but it is much more limited compared to using it without being in the grab pack mode. With it being done, you can now return. Well, before you do, there is a tape that is actually original to this crossover, which reveals some interesting changes I made to the lore. Okay, now, with that out of the way, the duo comes out of the power and Huggy is gone. Great. Also, little detail, Angelica will close when she sees Huggy's hands slither into the door. And with it comes the storage section, but it is the same as its original counterpart. So let's hear Angelica's thoughts about our favorite angry worker in the storage, Rich Lovitz. Okay, now we can go back to collect the batteries, like from chapter 1. And with it, Kirby gains the red hand, opening the metal door, the vents, which, unsurprisingly, duh, duh, Now, we're in the final area, and we're already starting with a new copy ability, which will be the last one in this chapter. It's a copy ability you all have been waiting for. Of course, I'm talking about Huggy Kirby. Finally, our first ever copy ability, and of course, it's the blue monkey himself. Yeah, Huggy is meant to be a monkey, fun fact. Also, every main antagonist copy ability will be the final one you get at each chapter. You know why? Okay, about Huggy Kirby, it's basically the actual suplex of the group, despite Hand Kirby existing. And it does a wide variety of wild moves. However, two moves that aren't grabbing moves are Slap Slap, which is a neutral move that has Kirby slap enemies, and Spin Around, which is an air move that has Kirby spin around in the air. Now, it's time for the grab moves. You can grab enemies with either Charge B or Dash B. This will have you do 3 moves, a throw with neutral B, a spin if you shake the L stick, and Berry Drivers, which has Kirby slam down an enemy in the air into the ground. Okay, now we can talk about the VHS tapes. And yes, you heard me right, VHS tapes. Which means we have yet another original tape to cover, but let's start with a familiar one. And now for the original tape, where there is a vent at the back of the machine, and to remove the cover where a tape lies behind. Also, a mechanic I added is that you could put any tape to any VHS player, because I thought it makes more sense. Okay, now it's time for the final puzzle, which tests you every copy ability you have. You start with Huggy Kirby with its wheel puzzle inspired by a warrior world. And yes, I'm bringing that game in 2026. There's a throw section here where you have to time your throw. Well, to throw that off, straight to the button. Then with the sword, you have the usual rope cutting and button hitting, and then there's hands with placing a playtime electrical connect to when the wires are cut, as well as the pylons to bring it. Ending off with a slightly harder version of the final puzzle for PP Chapter 1. I think Recluse coming back because I forgot about a few Easter eggs if you do certain stuff. So, here they are. Now, I know this is very stupid and definitely padding, but two reasons why I this Omega enemy rush, where you have to protect, make a friend machine, or survive. One, I always had that in the early days of my crossover, and two, it's because I want an excuse to talk about the second mini boss, Beast Grabber, and Grabber's mini boss version. And yes, that's the name of the player enemy. Beast Grabber has a couple of dangerous, just as its own rocket jumping and sliding down. It can grab Kirby and bite him, and in their second phase, he uses his falling rocks, paper throwing attacks a la Birdly from Deltarune, and lastly, scissors that attack you as enemies. Now, I think it's time to talk about the boss you all have been waiting for. That's right, it's time to bring the grand finale. Finally, I was so ready to talk about the slightly altered Huggy Wuggy boss fight. Of course, each of the main antagonists of their chapter are the final bosses of said chapter. Also, since I should talk about it, another lore change I made is that every bigger body now has a supernatural power, or straight up superpowers. I added them as a way to make them quote unquote get a leg up against Kirby, and as an excuse to give them badass boss fights. And as for Huggy, he's the all-rounder as his attacks are quick and powerful, showcasing Huggy's super speed and super strength. For his actual attacks, he can slap, slam, and charge attack. Also, he has a move that has him biting on all four, which is taken from Leongar from Forgotten Land. He can also do a flurry of punches JoJo style. In his second phase, it taps into Huggy's supersonic attacks, which are his long-range projectiles. He can create sound waves that semi-homes on Kirby, he can slam to create wave attacks, can do a Hulk-style clap smash, but not as big as the Big Green, and my favorite one, Huggy breathing fully to let out a giant screaming beam that semi-homes on Kirby. Also, something I should note that the jump scares are still here, but work differently. Basically, I took the enemy kill attack from Metroid Dread onto every bigger boss fight you're going to face. But it's a little easier, cause you know, Kirby is meant to be an easy game. Okay, monster stuff. What is happening? Well, this is simply the third phase of the Huggy boss fight. That's right, third phase. Every antagonist, mainly four of them, and we'll have a third phase that focuses more on horror. And for Huggy, it's of course a classic mascot horror chase scene. And while there are going to be chase sections in this hypothetical game, this one's special as it has lots of horror mechanics into it. First, the camera will be in the front where you can see the obstacles, but not Huggy, adding lots of dread since you want to know if he's actually close, while only hearing his footsteps. Also, about the obstacles, there are going to be the toys, with some of them having red liquid, which might imply something gruesome. But anyway, one bubble will get you a game over. Other obstacles that damages you are spikes and poisoned cat bees. Pretty interesting. Also, there are bottomless pits you need to jump, with some of them have you jump back to back with little room to breathe. Yeah, this might sound harder, at least how I explain about it. Anyway, things get a little harder as there are multiple paths that you can't see, only lit up by a busted red alarm with only one path clear. Then Kirby fell down into a maze lit up by Angelica's light power, which you need to use as Huggy is crawling non-stop. Enter grab back mode and aim at Huggy as the light flashes him and he will run away. I really hope you enjoy this phase, cause I put a lot of thought into remaking Huggy's battle. Once you're out, Huggy will chase you one last time as you go through all the obstacles you see in one last final challenge before you reach the end and a metal door slams into Huggy, but it won't last forever. Angelica thinks they could bring Huggy back, but Kirby saw something, and you enter T again where you press B, then press R bumper to Before we end this remake of a chapter, let's talk about the prototype VHS tape, as it has something unique, mainly for Angelica, as when played, Angelica will be scared by the scary noises. But luckily, if you stay here and not move, Kirby will use the grab back and break the TV. Press R bumper for Kirby to shoot the grab bag, then press it again to...
You opened my case.